So it is our first Tuesday of Comp2068 JavaScript frameworks in the fall 2021 semester here at Georgian. So we're going to kind of dive into course overview, and then we'll actually do kind of a brief introduction to our technology stack, and then we'll get our hands dirty kind of playing around with it a little bit today. We won't do anything super complicated. Hi, Svatoslav. Welcome back to class. Nice to see you again. So I think I know pretty much everybody. Raymond, I think you and I may not know each other, and Lyudmila. So my name's Rich. I've been teaching here. I've been a web developer for 20 years. Been teaching here at the college for the last 12 years. I've taught many students in the class in their ASP.NET course last semester. So mostly I focus on teaching web programming. So PHP, ASP.NET, JavaScript. Occasionally I teach project management, Android. So this class is actually one where I was sort of the main curriculum developer for this class, at least for the current version of the curriculum. And we've been working with this kind of version of the course for probably 5 or 6 years now, though we update it. We keep it up every year. So things, I mean, you guys are in semester 4 by now, so you're pretty much familiar with how my courses work, fairly similar to the ones that you're already used to. Our course information is here. We'll take a look at the syllabus in just a minute. My contact info is here, my email address, our link, WebEx link to the class, office hours, which I'll talk a little bit more about, and how you book an appointment. We've got folders for each week. And inside of every folder, I'll explain there'll be learning objectives, some activities we're going to do together in class, and then there'll be a checklist down at the bottom so that you know everything you need to do before the next week's class. I will record all the classes and post them to a playlist that I've made on my YouTube channel. It's public, so there's no login, and I will keep all of my videos there for you to reference. So if you're in class on Wednesday, which is the best way to learn, you can still reference the videos later. And if you are not joining the live classes, you can follow along from the YouTube videos. They'll typically be uploaded by Wednesday evening. Takes WebEx a little while to process the video, convert them to MP4, and then I have to upload them. So they're not available immediately when class ends. So a few other people just rolling in. Hi, Cameron, welcome back. Hello, Ujwal, nice to see you again. So I just want to go over our plan for the course. You can find it here under course information. Let me load it up. So we're meeting Wednesdays from 11 till 2. Yeah, nice to have you back, Cameron. Good to see you again. As I said, we'll meet live on WebEx. I would recommend, if at all possible, come to class and join the WebEx sessions. I think you'll get more out of the class. You can get immediate feedback from me. You can ask questions. You can interact with each other. You are free to kind of do the class asynchronously, but I don't think you really get the same learning experience. So what are we doing in this class? We're going to leverage your JavaScript skills from Comp1073, your client-side scripting class. So we're going to build on the JavaScript introduction you learned, and we're also going to build on the MVC principles that we worked with in our ASP.NET class to build secure applications using a full JavaScript stack. There's no textbook for the class. Everything will be on Blackboard, and of course, screencast posted to our YouTube channel. And I will show you where to find the YouTube channel. Same place as in our previous course. So under weekly learning and tools and resources, here's the YouTube playlist. So as I said earlier, this should be updated. Wednesday evenings with the lesson videos for each week. Okay. And all the code that we do in class, I will publish to my GitHub page. So the link is here. So again, if you want to reference anything we do in class or you miss class, then anything we do in class, I will publish to GitHub. And again, sometimes you may need to remind me at the end of the class, hey, can you make sure you put this up on GitHub so we have it as a reference? For office hours this semester, I have office hours on Tuesday mornings and Thursday mornings from 9 a.m. to 10:30. And please use the Calendly booking link. So probably you're familiar with this from last semester. So if you want an appointment, say tomorrow morning, you just click and you can book one 15-minute block. Please don't book multiple appointments because there's only so many appointments available. So please just book one appointment at a time. And if you don't need the appointment, I ask that you cancel it, because if you cancel it on Calendly, it will automatically remove the appointment from my calendar and free that time slot up for another student to book. So please, if you don't need the appointment, maybe sometimes it's common. Student says, I'm going to book an appointment because I have a problem I can't solve. And then they figure it out, but then they forget to cancel the appointment. Then I'm still sitting in the WebEx room waiting for them, and my calendar slot is unavailable for another student. So please make sure you delete appointments that you don't need anymore. What can you expect from me? Well, the same kind of stuff that you're used to. I promise to come prepared. Doesn't mean I will never make mistakes or stumble over things, but I do have a pretty good idea of what we want to do each week in class. We'll try and put the lessons into context of real world examples whenever I can. I will try to get back to you with an answer when you ask me something I don't know. Be really clear about what I expect in terms of how I'm going to grade your assignments. Try to keep the course interesting. And by all means, I'm open to feedback. I know you're paying for the course. I want to make it a good experience for you. Yes, I want you to learn first and foremost. But second of all, I want you to enjoy the course as much as possible. So I'm happy to listen to any concerns or suggestions. I can't promise that I can act on all of them, but I will certainly listen and do my best to address concerns you have. Communication policy, pretty much same as the summertime. Generally, I'll respond to email within 24 hours during the school week. If you email me over the weekend, you probably shouldn't expect a response until Monday. Okay, and I try to get away from my devices, have a bit of a digital sunset in the evening and do other things. So if you email me in the evening, you probably won't get a response until the next morning, Monday to Friday. So that's my part. Your part, again, standard stuff. Come to class, and if you're not coming to class, you need to make sure you do all the work each week. There's lots of help available, but you need to reach out if you need help. Start your assignments early so that you have time to ask for questions or get help if you need it. Submit them on time to get the most marks possible. There's no group work other than maybe a couple small in-class assignments. So you can't work with other students on assignments or share your code or take code from someone else. Stay plugged into Blackboard in your email. These are really the only ways I have to be in touch with you. And again, I'll really emphasize, the more you can be in the WebEx sessions, the more you're going to learn, the better experience I think you're going to have. So here's how the grade breaks down, similar to our .NET class, but not exactly the same. We'll have, again, a few small labs or in-class exercises. A couple of these might be group exercises. They won't be very large. Then you're going to have one assignment, one large project, again, like we did in our last semester, broken up into 3 parts. Actually, sorry, I apologize. No, we're actually going to build few separate things here. Getting my courses confused, I apologize. We are going to have a midterm exam in week 7. That'll be done in class. And a final exam. We do have quizzes as well, but the quizzes are not every week in this course. The quizzes are every 4th week. Okay, and they're not multiple choice. They're typically short answer quizzes, but you do them at home on Blackboard and you have a week to complete them. Okay, so you don't have to do a quiz every single week in this class. You do need to earn a 50% to get a passing grade. And assignments will be due at 5 o'clock on Tuesdays. So any quizzes, any assignments, any labs, they'll be due 5 o'clock on the day before class. And late policies, as you're used to, 20%. You lose 20% each day an assignment is late. If you need extra time because you have a valid reason, like an illness, a family emergency, it does happen. I'm not an unreasonable person, but please reach out to me and let me know. Okay, and I will consider your circumstances. I can't promise I will say yes, but if you have a valid reason, then yes, we can work out some additional time for you to get work done. I do need to point these things out because both of these were issues in our summer course. There are no makeup assignments at the end of the term. I got about 4 requests from students in our .NET class at the end of August saying, can I submit labs or quizzes that I was supposed to do 3 months ago and I didn't do because now I'm failing the class and I want to pull up my marks so I can pass. That creates a fairness issue. So unfortunately, the answer to that is no. So if you ask me at the end of the term, can I go back and submit work I know I was supposed to do, but I never submitted so that I can pull up my grade? That isn't going to be possible. So you need to do the work through the semester and not at the end. Same rules apply. All work must be your own. Okay. The minimum penalty if you submit work that is not fully your own is a grade of 0 on the assignment. If you've had a previous misconduct infraction, the minimum grade will be a 0 in the course. I don't want to give anyone a 0 in the course because this is the last semester for most of you. I want you all to pass and earn your credits, but you will need to do your own work in order to do that. If I have questions about your assignment, I'll schedule a code review meeting, a one-on-one WebEx meeting, where I will ask you questions about your assignment, get you to walk me through it, and I'm trying to verify that the work is in fact your own. Okay, I showed you this in the spring. Here's the updated version. So this was just from our one course last semester. There were 4 incidents where students did not submit their own work. And all of those students received academic misconduct. Some of them received 0 in the course. I would really like to not have to do this semester. So if you do your own work, that won't be a problem. Here is our schedule. We may have to adjust it a little bit, but in my experience from teaching this course a number of times in the past, we should probably be able to stick to this schedule pretty closely. Okay, so you don't really have anything due for your first few weeks. In week 4, you will have your first lab and your first quiz due. So only in-class work for the first couple of weeks. Then we've got assignment 1 and our midterm exam before reading week. Quite a bunch of stuff due here in middle of November. Assignment 2, which is very small. Your second quiz and a lab. The lab is really easy. Okay, Booger, I'm not sure why. That's fine. Yeah, listen in. I'll record it, and you can always watch the video later. We're not going to get too code heavy today, so don't panic. And then assignment 3, our last quiz, and then your final test in the last week of class. Final exam will be all practical. Does anybody have any questions at all about the rules, expectations, plan for the course, questions, concerns? Happy to hear and try and address any questions or concerns anybody's got.
Good morning, Professor. My name is Ludmila Romanenko, but everybody call me Mila. It's easy to say.
Okay, thank you, Mila. Yes, go ahead.
I just asked because I see I belong to group 4, so I was in your course last semester. I just worried. Do we have to do our assignment independent, or it will be in group?
No, the assignments will be independent. The groups are only for some small activities in class. Like I may ask you to have a discussion, or I may give you a small coding challenge in class. So the groups, you'll then just use those groups for those small tasks. But all the assignments are individual.
Okay, thank you. It's what I prefer. Thank you.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll do a few things in groups in class, and that's simply because we're in an online environment. Um, you know, it's sometimes it can be difficult to it can be somewhat isolating, right? And I don't want you to only hear my voice. I would still like to give you a chance to interact with other people in the class a little bit. So the groups are simply for doing that, for some activities where I'll put you in a small group and give you a few minutes to solve a problem or come up with an idea. But all the assignments, yes, those are individual. Excellent question, Mila.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Fatima. I just heard that you mentioned we'll be using MVC. And
Yes.
unfortunately, I am taking ASP.NET this semester
Right.
as is it going to be way much, or just I can just, maybe catch up and just want a heads up?
Yeah, it should be fine. In fact, there have been semesters in the past where where our schedule was that this course was actually taught in the same semester as the ASP.NET course. And those students did fine. So don't worry. In some ways, it might
Okay.
actually help you because you're doing two courses with MVC at the same time. So one is going to reinforce the knowledge in the other course.
Okay. That's
So
nice to
yeah,
hear. Thank you, sir.
don't panic about that. You'll be just fine.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else have a question about the class?
Yes, hi. So the thing is, I'm going to be working as an information officer for the polls on September 20th, and since it's going to be 12 hours straight, it might interfere with any work regarding assignments. So is that important?
Well, if you're looking at the schedule, from the schedule, you can actually see that that won't be a problem because there's nothing due until September the 28th.
Okay, then.
So there will
Thank
be
you.
no assignments. I won't be giving out any assignments until the 22nd, which is after the election. So you have nothing to worry about.
Okay, thank you. And fun fact, this is actually my first part-time job since volunteering at the library, and I think it will be a good experience.
Excellent. Great. That's good for you, Bradley.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Any other questions? Anything you're worried about? Okay, thanks, Vyatislav. All right. Okay, so and if anything else comes to mind that you thought, oh crap, I should have asked that, that's fine. Just use your mic, use the chat, and let me know, hey, I've got a question that I didn't think of at the time, but I want to talk about. So I did send out this announcement asking you to install a few things. So you can use almost any code editor for this, but the two most common ones are WebStorm, which is made by JetBrains, or Visual Studio Code by Microsoft. You can use either one. I prefer WebStorm for working with this technology stack. Now, if you download WebStorm, it's free for 30 days. But if you just register with JetBrains with your student email, they extend the 30-day trial to a renewable 365-day trial. So every year they just ask you to log back in and renew your license. And if you're not sure which one you want to use, by all means, try them both, see which one you like. I'm going to use WebStorm. You do need to install Node.js, which is our primary technology we're going to be working with in the course. So it's a free download. It's and all these software for this course, it's platform independent. So your operating system really isn't going to matter at all for this class. If you're using a Mac, fine. If you're using Linux, fine. If you're on Windows, it's fine. And the third piece of software, which you don't need right away, is Mongodb Compass. So MongoDB is the database engine we're going to be using for the course. It's quite different from the databases we've worked with so far in the program. And Compass is the interface it's the program we use to actually interface with their database. So kind of similar to MySQL Workbench or SQL Server Management Studio. We're not going to be working with MongoDB for a little while yet, not until next month. So it's not critical that you install Compass today. You'll just need it, for week 5, but you don't need it before then. But for today, you do need a code editor, and you do need to install Node. As I also mentioned in the announcement, and I'm sure probably most of you already done this because it's your last semester, life is much easier as an online student if you have 2 monitors. So you can have WebEx up on one screen where you can see what I'm doing and see my code, and then you have a second screen where you can be using your own code editor. So I would recommend, if you have 2 screens, it's going to make your life much easier. Yes, thank you, Raymond. Agreed. So in tools and resources, I've given you the same links here. They're in 2 places, so you can download Node, MongoDB Compass, and WebStorm. Again, MongoDB, not critical for today. A few other resources here for you. So these are a few other places you can go to get some additional training on Node.js. We'll look at the style guide later. I always like to put this up here as well. We will, of course, be using Git in this course, so all your assignments will be hosted on, all your code will be hosted on GitHub, as we've done in our previous courses. So if you're using Git at the command line, and Node is very command line heavy. So maybe a bunch of things that Visual Studio did for us through a graphical interface, we're going to be using the command line for with Node. So if you're not comfortable using your command line, this course, one of the side benefits is it gets you much more comfortable using your Windows command prompt or your Mac terminal window. So the commands for creating and uploading code to Git is here. I also have posted our LinkedIn group, which I think I mentioned in the summer, and I know a lot of you have joined. We've actually posted some new jobs up in the group recently. So if you're interested in the group, by all means, feel free to join. Okay, so, our objectives for today, I wanted to go over the course. So we've done that, which was our syllabus review, giving you the links to install the software. So what we're going to do, and Milo, this is going to be the first instance where we use a group. So we're just going to use the groups. I'm going to use the breakout groups in WebEx in a moment. And I've got this discussion thread here on Blackboard. So if you open this up, so if you go in the lesson 1 folder, and there's this item that says breakout group research. So you can find your group in Blackboard. There should be, I think you have a groups link somewhere on the left. And everybody should be in group 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So in a minute, I'm going to start the breakout groups. I'll give you about 10 minutes in your group. So when I start the groups, if you're in group 1, you should be able to move yourself into breakout room 1. If you're in group 3, move yourself into breakout room 3. And in your breakout groups, here's your task. Together as a group, I want you to answer any 2 of these questions. So you're going to have to do a little research together, come up with some answers, and as a group, I want you to reply to the thread and answer any 2 of these questions. And please, let's not have every group just pick the first 2 questions. And I'm going to give you about 10 minutes to do this. Okay, so I will pause the recording So again, I'm going to set up 5 breakout rooms or 5 breakout sessions, and you just go to the breakout session that matches your group number on Blackboard. Are you able to see your group number on Blackboard? I think you have a groups link in your navigation. Okay, great. Okay, good. So I'm going to start the breakout rooms. And once I do, you should be able to move yourself into the breakout session that matches your group number. So I'm just going to pause my recording and maybe we can just have a quick look at what you found. Okay, yep, that's fine. Thanks, Brad. Okay, so MEAN is an acronym for the different technologies. So the M is MongoDB, that's our database. Express is our web server framework. Angular is the web client framework. We're not going to use Angular until the latter part of the course. And Node.js as the server platform. And as Brad pointed out, it's powerful and it's a full stack JavaScript solution. Okay? And we are using JavaScript all the way through the stack. And that offers a number of benefits. Okay, great answer, Brad. Thanks. Adam, thanks for posting for group 4. So we talked about blocking versus non-blocking or synchronous and asynchronous. So blocking and synchronous are the same, that's right. When you make a call, the thread stops and waits for some kind of response. In non-blocking code, it means if we don't get a response right away, we can do something else in the meantime. So we can basically, asynchronous code allows us to do multiple things on a single thread at once. That one piece of code doesn't have to finish before we can do other things. And we'll play around with blocking versus non-blocking code, and we can see how they work today. Right. So MEAN stack, great fit for single page applications that need to be highly scalable in our cloud base. And these are some excellent examples. So that's a great answer from group 4. Thanks, Adam, for posting. So group 3 mentioned the same kind of thing. So scalability, where we have a large number of users. And Angular, again, great for single page applications. We will build a single page application later in the course where we can do create, read, updating, and deleting of data, and the page will never refresh. The full page doesn't have to refresh. The data will just update in real time through Angular's two-way data binding model. And MVC, yeah, we have talked about in our last class. So it's a software design pattern that lets us split our applications into models, views, and controllers, or data, logic, and presentation. And Fatima laid out nicely as well in this bulleted list what the components are. And MongoDB, yeah, this is interesting. So our database actually uses JSON, uses JavaScript just in a binary format. So we're actually going to store our data in JavaScript itself. And then we've already talked about Express, Angular, and Node. Okay, so Cameron says, Cameron also emphasizes single language for both the client and server. It's efficient. We've got a lot of free tools. It's also really easy to extend. Cameron also, group 2, mentioned event-driven programming. So we're going to talk more about this. So we're using user interaction to determine what should happen. So for example, the user clicks a mouse, one event can then trigger a whole series of other events. Jillian mentioned the same thing as well from group 2. All right, so those are some good answers. And we're gonna play around with this a bit more. So I'm gonna think we're about due for a break. Don't like to go much longer than about 50 minutes, and then we need to get off the computer and think about something else for 10 minutes. So what we'll do when we come back is I'm going to give you a bit of an overview of the MEAN stack that I've prepared. You guys have actually hit on a lot of the key points already, and I'm just going to provide some little history and context and maybe fill in some of the gaps. So we're going to do that when we come back, and then we will start to play around and write. I think we're going to build 3 very simple files using Node today. Nothing too complicated, but we'll also play around, particularly with this blocking and non-blocking. We'll kind of write the same code, but do it in 2 different ways. No DB context today. Okay, it's 11:48. Let's just come back at noon. Okay, I'm going to stop this recording, go take a break, and we'll see you back here at 12. I'm going to step away for a few minutes myself.